Welcome, fellow explorers of the unseen, to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on an extraordinary journey, armed with Manly P. Hall's monumental work, The Secret Teachings of All Ages.
Quite a text.
Absolutely. Our mission in this deep dive is to explore the incredible concept of hidden wisdom that has, well, permeated civilizations for millennia.
Right.
We're talking ancient mysteries, profound philosophies, clandestine secret societies, and the truly universal language of symbolism.
It's really an exploration into how the ancients, from the earliest mystics right up to the greatest philosophers, meticulously encoded profound truth.
About what, specifically?
About the cosmos, about humanity, about spiritual transformation. And these weren't, obvious statements.
No?
No, they were often cloaked in allegories, intricate rituals, cryptic designs.
Making them accessible only to those prepared.
Exactly. To those with a truly prepared and discerning mind.
That's precisely it. This isn't just about dusty history.
Oh.
It's a fascinating look at humanity's enduring quest for deeper knowledge and, well, self-understanding. Yeah, it really is. So let's peel back the layers and discover the surprising connections beneath the surface of what we often just, take for granted. Okay, so have you ever had that feeling, that deep intuition, that there's more to reality than what you see on the surface?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That behind the obvious, there's a profound hidden layer of meaning. Manly P. Hall taps right into that feeling.
He really does.
He claims that since time immemorial, certain profound truths about life's inner mysteries have been carefully preserved.
By a small band of initiated minds, as he puts it.
Right. It's like an unbroken chain of wisdom stretching from the dawn of humanity. But why keep such profound insights secret? Why hide them?
That's a crucial question. Hall refers to this as the secret doctrine, or the Great Arcanum.
The Great Arcanum, okay.
And its concealment, he argues, wasn't driven by a desire for exclusivity, keeping people out.
No.
No, it was more about protection.
Protection. From what?
Well, the underlying concern was that if these secret processes, these profound insights into cosmic and human nature, fell into uncultured hands, as Hall says,
right,
they could be perverted, misused, or just, catastrophically misunderstood.
I see. So the symbols and allegories were like a filter.
Pretty much, yeah, a kind of wisdom firewall. These symbols acted as keys, revealing their true meaning only to those who had undergone the necessary preparation and possessed genuine understanding.
So it really does set up a kind of cosmic detective story for the mind, doesn't it?
It really does.
The challenge for us, and for anyone seeking this wisdom, is to uncover these lost keys, these interpretative frameworks, that can then unlock an entire treasure house of philosophic, scientific, and religious truths.
Exactly.
Now, Hall is very careful in his approach here. He explicitly states that he makes no claim for either the infallibility or the originality of his statement.
Which is important.
Very. He's not presenting dogma, but rather aiming to present the material in the spirit rather than the letter of the original authors, consciously avoiding dogmatic utterances.
Yeah, it's more about exploration.
That's a crucial distinction, inviting us to explore rather than just blindly accept.
And this distinction leads us right into a fundamental concept in ancient philosophical and religious doctrines, the division between the esoteric and the exoteric.
Okay, esoteric and exoteric. Break that down.
Sure. So the esoteric teachings were the spiritual, the deeper truths, revealed only to the discerning few, those mature minds capable of grasping their complexity and, importantly, their responsible application.
The inner circle, basically.
You could say that, yeah. Receiving what we might call the true meaning.
And then on the other side
were the exoteric teachings. These were the literal, often simplified interpretations given to the unqualified many.
Okay. Can you get an example?
Personification is a great one. Think about abstract principles of natural law or universal vital forces. Pretty hard to grasp, right?
For those people, yeah.
So, to make them relatable, they were often personified. These personifications then became the gods and goddesses of ancient mythologies.
Ah, like Priapus and Pan representing procreative energies.
Exactly. Hall points that out. The wise, the initiates, they saw these figures as profound symbols of cosmic forces.
But the average person?
The uninitiated multitudes simply saw them as literal deities to be worshipped. It's a layered understanding designed for different levels of spiritual and intellectual maturity.
That's fascinating. A kind of tiered system of understanding.
And what's particularly insightful here is Hall's suggestion that modern philosophy has largely lost this dual perspective.
How so?
He argues it has fragmented into numerous isms more or less antagonistic, each often trying to disprove the other.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
Thereby losing sight of the sublimer issues of divine order and human destiny.
So philosophy's purpose in this older view wasn't just argument.
Not primarily. Its ideal function was to serve as a stabilizing influence in human thought, guiding us toward universal truths and preventing the establishment of unreasonable codes of life.
Stabilizing thought. That's a powerful idea. This quest for deeper hidden understanding leads us directly to the ancient mysteries themselves, doesn't it?
Absolutely. These were the true fountainheads of wisdom.
Operating as secret societies, binding their initiates to inviolable secrecy. We're talking about places like Eleusis or the Hermetic traditions.
Exactly. Profound institutions that profoundly shape the intellectual and spiritual landscape of their time.
And the reason we know so little for sure about what went on inside.
It's precisely due to this strict adherence to secrecy. Death, in many cases, was the penalty for betrayal.
Wow. High stakes.
Extremely. So even though these schools profoundly inspired the doctrines of many ancient philosophers, figures like Pythagoras or Plato often drew from these sources,
They didn't spill the beans.
the original fountainhead, the mysteries themselves, was almost never explicitly revealed to the profane, to the outsiders. Over time, the teachings became linked to the names of the people who spread them.
Like Plato or Pythagoras.
Right. And the recondite source, the secret schools, was often forgotten or ignored by later generations, further obscuring their origins.
What's truly compelling here is that these mysteries, these sacred colleges of wisdom, were seen as standing at the very threshold of reality.
That liminal space.
Exactly. That point between the known and the unknown, between substance and shadow. Hall tells us that the gates of these mysteries stand ever ajar.
But only for those who truly possess the inner resolve and intellectual capacity to pass through.
Right, into what he calls the domicile of spirit. It suggests this wisdom isn't permanently lost to humanity. It's simply waiting for the right seeker to find it.
A powerful invitation, really.
Okay, let's shift our gaze then. Let's look at the foundational Greek schools of philosophy, which, carried these threads of ancient wisdom, giving us ideas that still echo today.
Right. Where do we even start?
Well, what did these early thinkers consider the very essence of existence?
The earliest Greek philosophical thought really began with the 7 immortalized thinkers, first called Sophos, or the wise.
The wise ones.
From the Ionic school, you have figures like Thales. He daringly posited water as the primal element.
Believing the earth literally floated on it.
Yeah, which was a radical departure, moving from purely mythical explanations to reasoned observation.
A big step.
Huge. Anaximander followed, suggesting something even more abstract, a measureless and indefinable infinity as the source of all things.
Wow. Even more abstract than water.
Definitely. These early Ionian thinkers, Anaximenes, Anaxagoras, Archelaus, they really laid the groundwork for questioning the fundamental nature of reality.
And as their thought evolved, philosophers began to question not just what reality was made of, but how we understood it, right?
Yeah.
The nature of truth itself.
Exactly. That intellectual leap brings us to the Elean sect, founded by Phaedo of Elais.
Phaedo, wasn't he a former slave?
He was, yeah. His intellect so impressed Socrates that Socrates actually secured his freedom. Plato even named a discourse after him.
Incredible.
While much of their doctrine is lost, one of Menedemus's famous propositions from this sect really shows their focus.
There goes it.
That which is not the same is different from that with which it is not the same. To benefit is not the same as good, therefore good does not benefit.
Whoa, okay, that's twisty.
It's a subtle play on logic, yeah. Reveals a deep focus on precise distinctions that characterize these early philosophical inquiries.
Okay, so after Phaedo.
We get Plato himself, who founded the academic philosophers. Plato's travels were extensive. He's believed to have been initiated by the Egyptians into Hermetic philosophy, and he was definitely influenced by the Pythagoreans.
Right.
Cicero famously described Platonic philosophy as threefold: ethics, physics, and dialectics.
The big three.
And Plato also offered a threefold definition of good. Good in the soul, like virtues, good in the body, symmetry, endurance, and good in the external world, social position, friends, etc.
A holistic view of good.
Very. And his pupil Speusippus defined God as a being that lives immortally by means of himself alone, sufficing for his own blessedness, the eternal essence, cause of his own goodness.
Heavy stuff.
Deep stuff. For Plato, the one was the best term for the absolute, emphasizing that underlying unity.
This philosophical exploration then leads us to the Stoics, right? They seem quite different.
Yeah, the Stoics emphasize profound meekness and self-control. There's that memorable story of Diogenes.
Oh, the spitting one.
That's the one. Delivering a discourse against anger, a listener actually spits in his face.
And his reaction.
Remarkable humility. He just responded, "I'm not angry, but I'm in doubt whether I ought to be so or not."
Wow. That's control.
It is. The Stoics believed the soul had 8 parts, the 5 senses, generative power, vocal power, and the hegemonic, the ruling part.
The command center.
Basically, and they defined nature itself as God mixed throughout the substance of the world, seeing the divine in everything, a truly pantheistic view.
Okay, so Stoics emphasize self-control, divine nature everywhere. What about the Epicureans? They're often seen as just pleasure seekers, aren't they?
That's the common misunderstanding. Epicureanism, founded by Epicurus of Samos, did posit pleasure as the most desirable state. But, and this is critical, it was a grave and dignified state.
Not just hedonism, then.
Not at all. It was achieved by renouncing the mental and emotional ups and downs that lead to pain and sorrow. Epicurus argued that mental pains were actually worse than bodily pains.
Interesting.
And so mental joys were greater and more lasting.
How does that differ from, say, the Cyrenaics?
Good question. The Cyrenaics saw pleasure as dependent on action. The Epicureans emphasized pleasure from rest or the absence of pain, a state of tranquil repose, ataraxia.
Okay, other physics.
Interestingly, they based it on Democritus's atom theory, so a materialistic foundation for a philosophy focused on achieving mental serenity.
You know, what truly strikes me about this period is how some of this ancient pagan thought really influenced early Christianity. It wasn't a clean break, was it?
Absolutely not. Far from it. It was a much more complex and fascinating intertwining of ideas.
How so?
Well, as the physical body of pagan thought seemed to decline, there was this powerful effort to kind of resuscitate it by unveiling its mystical truths. This led to the rise of Neoplatonism.
Neoplatonism. Yeah.
This philosophical code saw every physical doctrine as merely the shell of a spiritual verity. A deeper truth you could only discover through meditation and mystic exercises, not just literal reading.
So the hidden meaning was the real prize.
Exactly. For the Neoplatonists, these esoteric spiritual truths were far more valuable than the literal corporeal bodies of religion and philosophy. Material sciences were seen as secondary to the quest for spiritual understanding.
And this current flowed into early Christian thought.
Profoundly, it shaped patristic philosophy and Augustinianism, which you can basically understand as a form of Christian Platonism.
Right. Augustine.
This school actively opposed doctrines like the Pelagian one, which held that man was the sole author of his own salvation.
What did they propose instead?
Patristic philosophy elevated the church and its dogmas to a position of absolute infallibility, a stance that pretty much defined Western Christian thought until the Reformation.
Wow. Okay. But there were other streams too, weren't there? Like Gnosticism.
Oh, absolutely. At the same time, around the 1st century CE, we see the rise of Gnosticism. This was a really radical system of emanationism.
Emanationism.
Yeah, interpreting Christianity through the lens of Greek, Egyptian, and Persian metaphysics. The early Christian church quickly labeled it as heresy, of course.
Sure.
But its core insight was profound. The idea that the divine didn't create the world directly, but through a series of lesser, sometimes flawed beings.
Meaning the material world wasn't perfect.
Exactly. And even its creator, often called the Demiurgus, were seen as imperfect. True salvation for the Gnostics came through secret knowledge gnosis rather than conventional faith.
That would definitely challenge the emerging orthodoxy.
Hugely.
Oh.
Later in the 3rd century, you get Manichaeism from Persia, a distinct dualistic system.
Good versus evil.
Right. Good, Ahura Mazda or Ormuzd, and evil, Ahriman, in eternal cosmic struggle. In Manichaeism, Christ was revered as the principle of redeeming good.
Okay.
In stark contrast to the man Jesus, who they viewed as an evil personality. Now, it's important we state, we're just reporting on what Hall presents in the sources here. We're not endorsing these views, just conveying the ideas.
Understood. Impartial reporting. What's crucial for us to grasp here, though, is that the ideals of early Christianity, despite all the later antagonism, were significantly rooted in the high moral standards of the pagan mysteries.
That's a key point Hall makes.
The sources point out that the first Christians in Rome, for instance, actually used the subterranean temples of Mithras for worship.
Yeah, and much of the sacerdotalism, the elaborate rituals, the priestly order of the modern church, was borrowed directly from Mithraic cults.
It's a testament to the enduring influence of these ancient traditions, isn't it?
It really is. Ancient philosophers believed that no one could live intelligently without a fundamental knowledge of nature and her laws.
And the mysteries.
The mysteries were dedicated to instructing humanity on the operation of divine law right here, in the terrestrial sphere. They were far more moralistic and philosophic than purely religionistic or theological.
Focused on living well.
Exactly. Teaching people to use their faculties intelligently, to be patient, courageous, true, viewing a worthy life as the most acceptable sacrifice to God, and seeing the body itself as an altar sacred to the deity.
Let's turn now to ancient cosmologies and anatomies.
Yeah.
Because they reveal this incredible interconnectedness between the human and the universal cosmos. Take a look at this image here, the Ptolemaic scheme of the universe.
Ah, yes, often ridiculed today.
Right. Modern astronomers see it as fundamentally flawed, but Hall suggests they're missing a profound philosophic key. What was that key?
The key, according to Hall, is that the Ptolemaic system wasn't meant to be a literal astronomical model. Not just that, anyway. It was a diagrammatic representation of the relationships existing between the various divine and elemental parts of every creature.
Every creature, including humans.
Absolutely. It's a profound statement that the outer world mirrors the inner. The universe reflects man, and man reflects the universe.
Wait, explain that a bit more with the diagram.
Look at the 3 circles of zodiacs surrounding the planetary orbits. They represent the threefold spiritual constitution of the universe.
Right.
The orbits of the planets themselves are seen as the governors of the world, and the 4 elemental spheres in the center. They symbolize the physical constitution of both man and the universe.
So it's less about physical location, more about symbolic structure.
Precisely, a deep esoteric understanding of universal design.
And this idea extends to the 3 suns concept, which is directly analogous to man's own threefold nature, spirit, soul, and body.
Exactly. This concept was even symbolized in Freemasonry by 3 candles, each representing one of these solar principles.
So what are these 3 suns?
The mystics divided the solar orb into 3 distinct bodies, each corresponding to the 3 centers of life in each individual. First, the spiritual sun, they called it Vulcan.
Vulcan, like the Roman god.
Associated with that, yeah, it manifests the power of God the Father and illuminates man's spiritual nature.
Okay, spiritual sun. What's next?
Then there's the intellectual or solar sun. This one's interesting, referred to as both Christ and Lucifer.
Christ and Lucifer. That sounds contradictory.
It does, but here Lucifer represents the intellectual mind without the illumination of the spiritual mind. It's the false light of pure reason or materialism.
Okay.
This false light is then overcome and transmuted by the true light of the soul, the Christly intellect. This process of inner transmutation is actually one of the great secrets of alchemy.
Ah, alchemy. We'll get to that. So the solar sun redeems the intellectual nature. What's the third?
The material sun. They linked this to the Jewish Demiurgus Jehovah. It's seen as the vehicle for God the Holy Spirit, unfolding and vitalizing man's physical body.
3 suns, 3 aspects of divinity, 3 parts of man.
Wow. Paracelsus captured this beautifully in an analogy.
How so?
He compared the visible, earthly sun that gives us heat to an eternal sun, the ultimate source of all wisdom, seen by our spiritual senses and felt by intuition.
Suggesting a direct link between our inner spiritual capacity and cosmic wisdom.
Exactly. And building on that, Pythagorean astronomy, which came much earlier than many realize, asserted that the Earth was not the center of the solar system.
Really? Before Copernicus?
Way before. Pythagoras declared fire to be the most important element and placed a flaming sphere of celestial radiance at the universe's center.
What did he call it?
Several names. The Tower of Jupiter, the Globe of Unity, the Grand Monad, the Altar of Vesta.
The Altar of Vesta, like the eternal flame.
Precisely. He divided the universe into 10 spheres, starting with this divine fire, then the 7 known planets, the Earth, and a mysterious, never visible planet called Antithon.
Antithon. counter-Earth.
Something like that. This profound numerical and elemental symbolism was integral to their understanding of cosmic order. It was all about relationships, not just physical observation.
So if the proper study of mankind is man, as the sources suggest, then this cosmic understanding must also apply directly to us as microcosms.
That's the core idea. Both God and man have a twofold constitution, an invisible superior part and a visible inferior part with an intermediary sphere connecting them.
So our spirit controls our body, just like God's spirit controls the universe.
In essence, yes. Man's spiritual nature is the invisible cause and controlling power of his visible material personality. Spirit, or life, is anterior to form. Form is within spirit, not the other way around.
That's a powerful inversion of how we usually think. Consciousness before matter.
Exactly. And this translates directly into the human body, where we have three primary centers of activity.
Okay, what are they?
The superior or spiritual center is analogously located in the heart, considered the true source of life.
The heart. Makes sense.
The middle center, acting as the link between the superior and inferior worlds, is the brain, the seat of rational intelligence that unites life and form.
Okay, heart, brain. What's the lower center?
The lower, or infernal creator center, is the generative system, the source of physical organisms and material manifestation.
Infernal creator. That sounds a bit ominous.
Well, it represents the power of physical creation, which can be directed either way, you see.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? How does this model apply?
It means your ideals, your aspirations, your very destiny depend largely on which of these three centers predominates in your life.
How so?
In the materialist, the lower center is strongest. In the intellectualist, it's the higher, mental center, the brain.
But for the initiate, the wise person.
For the initiate, the middle center, the heart, or perhaps the illumined mind, bridging both controls, both mind and body. Through what Hall calls a flood of spiritual effulgence, it brings the extremes into a harmonious and enlightened state.
Achieving true balance and self-mastery.
That's the goal.
Okay, let's unpack this fascinating aspect of ancient wisdom. Symbolism. Hall says it's everywhere, serving as a profound, universal language for concealed wisdom.
Absolutely. Accessible only to those who know how to read it.
How did the ancients see the animal kingdom, for instance? Was it just biology?
Oh, far from it. The animal kingdom was a vast symbolic lexicon. Take the lion.
King of the beasts.
Yes, but much more. Sacred to the sun, its shaggy mane symbolizes the sun's rays. There are allegories suggesting the lion opens the secret book, meaning the solar power opens seed pods, releasing the spiritual life within. Ancients also believed lions slept with their eyes open.
Symbolizing vigilance.
Exactly. Hence their placement at doors as emblems of divine guardianship. King Solomon himself was often symbolized as a lion. Priests in mysteries wore feline skins, signifying their connection to solar power.
Wow. Okay, what about the phoenix? That's a famous one.
Not just some mythical bird of rebirth, but a potent symbol of cyclical transformation, of resurrection.
And Hall suggests a connection to the U.S. seal.
He does. It's believed by some that the American eagle on the Great Seal might actually be a conventionalized phoenix. A kind of subterfuge, perhaps, adopted by Rosicrucian initiates involved in its 1782 design.
Hidden in plain sight. That's amazing.
It's a powerful idea. And speaking of powerful and often misunderstood symbols, the serpent or dragon is another key example.
Often seen as evil, right?
Often, yes, but it's actually a complex dualistic symbol. It represents the spinal cord, the divine fire that crawls serpent-like up the tree of life in esoteric anatomy.
The Kundalini energy.
Related to that concept, definitely. It's also an emblem of immortality because it sheds its skin and thus a symbol of reincarnation.
And the uraeus on Egyptian headdresses?
That serpent coiled on the foreheads of initiates symbolized divine knowledge and wisdom. So while often associated with temptation or evil in some contexts, its fundamental ancient meaning was knowledge and transformative power.
Okay, how about the Apis bull in Egypt?
The Bull of Memphis. This wasn't just an animal, it was a sacred vehicle for the transmigration of the soul of Osiris.
Conceived by lightning.
Believed to be, yes. It had very specific markings: black with a white spot, an eagle on its back, a beetle under its tongue, two-way tail hair. Extremely specific.
And its life cycle.
After 25 years symbolizing the destruction of material life by baptismal waters, perhaps the Apis was ritually drowned. Osiris would then reincarnate in a new bull.
Symbolizing eternal renovation.
Exactly. Where the esoteric doctrine, the uraeus, contrasted with the exoteric understanding of the Apis. Serapis, a later deity derived from Sorapis, represented the material soul ruling the irrational body.
The symbolism is just layered upon layered. What about something like the scorpion?
Another powerful dualistic symbol represents both wisdom and self-destruction. To the Egyptians, it was the creature accursed, marking the beginning of Typhon's dark rule.
And later associations.
Assigned to Judas Iscariot as the betrayer, its sting from the tail symbolizes a backbiter. Esoterically, it could represent the spinal fire, that same energy which could destroy man if gathered improperly at the base of his spine.
So a warning symbol, too.
Definitely. Beyond these, the animal kingdom was just full of meaning. The dove for purity, composite figures like the manticora or unicorn representing forces in invisible realms or complex aspects of human nature.
Every creature, real or imagined, was like a living hieroglyph.
Pregnant with meaning, exactly.
Moving beyond animals, plants too were imbued with deep meaning, weren't they? Signifying growth, healing, divine fecundity.
Absolutely. Plants were venerated not just for their practical healing properties, which were extensive.
The doctrine of signatures.
Right. Based on their resemblances to human body parts. Dentaria, shaped like a tooth, used for toothaches. The Palma Christi plant, shaped like hands for hand afflictions. Certain herbs, like the poppy, were even valued for prophetic qualities.
The rose and the lotus seem particularly universal symbols.
They really are. Both represent spiritual unfoldment. The rose is a yonic symbol generation, fecundity, purity.
Its colors mean something, too.
Yeah, red for Christ's blood, its golden heart for the spiritual gold within human nature. Its 10 petals hint at the perfect Pythagorean number, 10.
And a lotus.
Growing through earth, water, and air, it symbolizes man's journey through ignorance, endeavor, and understanding across the three worlds: material, intellectual, spiritual.
Which is why Eastern deities are often shown sitting on them.
Exactly. And Rosicrucians used a garland of roses as a significant emblem. These aren't just pretty flowers, they're profound maps of inner growth.
What about trees?
Trees themselves represented the macrocosm as a divine tree. Each species carried specific associations.
Like the oak.
Often symbolized the father god, the pine, the savior god or world martyr, the ash, the world axis, divine nature in humanity. Cypress for goddesses or the maternal principle, the palm for the positive pole of generation.
And the pine cone.
A common phallic symbol signifying solar virility. It even adorned Bacchus's thyrsus. Attis, the sun savior, was said to have died under a pine tree, linking it to the cycle of death and rebirth around the winter solstice.
Even fruits carried weighty symbolism. The pomegranate.
The mystic fruit of the Eleusinian rites. Eating it bound Persephone to Pluto's realms.
Signifying
the sensual life that temporarily deprives man of immortality. Its vast number of seeds also made it an emblem of natural fecundity, even linked to Noah's Ark.
a forbidden secret for some groups.
For the Kabiri, yes. And you find pomegranate capitals on the pillars Jachin and Boaz in Solomon's temple, and embroidered on the high priest's ephod. Shows its deep religious and esoteric significance.
And grapes and wine. A bit paradoxical, right?
Definitely holds a fascinating duality. Strong wine often seen as symbolic of false life or false light because artificial fermentation clouds rational faculties, letting the animal nature dominate.
But there's another side.
Paradoxically, intoxication was also viewed as a state of ecstasy, where the individual was believed to be possessed by the universal spirit of life, a symbol of the solar spirit, divine enthusiasm.
And in Christianity.
Wine became the emblem of Christ's blood, linking it to divine transformation and spiritual sustenance.
Let's turn now to the symbolism of inanimate objects, stones, numbers, colors. Ancients saw these not just as inert matter, but as building blocks of the universe, right?
Absolutely. Each imbued with specific cosmic significance. Think about stones. Ancient peoples often built altars and monuments from uncut stones, like Stonehenge.
Why uncut?
Perhaps preserving their natural power. Monoliths were seen not just as raw rock, but as crude portrayals of the procreative attributes of divinity. An instinctive recognition of deity stability, its foundational nature.
Stone worship, litholatry, even shows up in Christianity.
It does. Allusions to the rock of refuge, the rock upon which the church. Stones were struck to induce ecstasy. Some echoed images, some even produced musical harmonies. They were used in oaths, even in judicial verdicts.
And the mosaic tablets being stone.
Represented the lower demiurgic sphere in contrast to hypothetical sapphire tablets signifying the higher celestial realm.
Numbers, particularly in the Pythagorean tradition, were seen as the very essence of universal order, the blueprint.
Exactly. The monad, number 1, was called mine, hermaphrodism, both odd and even. God, good, the receptacle of matter; Jupiter, Vesta, the fire of the home and center of the universe. It represented form, love, conquered, piety, so much packed into one number.
Wow. And the pentad, number 5.
Formed by the tetrad, the 4 elements: earth, fire, air, water, plus the monad, ether, making the 5-pointed star the pentagram, a symbol of vitality, health, and the spiritual triumph over the material.
Slaying the dragon creates the pentad.
That's one interpretation, yeah. The monad entering a tetrad, spirit conquering matter. This numerical symbolism extended everywhere. To the values of names like the sacred number 72 in the Old Testament and Kabbalah, Hall note 72 reduces to 9, symbolizing man himself.
So numbers could be reduced?
All higher numbers could be reduced to one of the original 10 numerals and then ultimately to 1. Numbers were also classified: superperfect, deficient, or perfect.
Like 33.
33 is a superperfect number relevant in many secret traditions, speculated to relate to figures like Bacon or the supposed age of Christ. This suggests a deeper, hidden mathematical order behind seemingly disparate things.
And the tetractys, that pyramid of dots.
The Pythagorean pyramid. 1 dot, then 2, then 3, then 4. It beautifully revealed harmonic intervals, the octave, the 5th diapente, the 4th diatessaron.
Showing music is based on math.
For Pythagoras, music was a direct dependency of mathematics, its harmonies controlled by mathematical proportions. He assigned a tone, an interval, a number, a name, a color, and a form to each of creation's planes, a complete symbolic system for the universe, a cosmic symphony.
Colors, too, formed a natural language.
Absolutely. Used by civilizations to couch their doctrines. The 7 walls of ancient Ecbatana, colored for the 7 planets. The 7-stepped zikkurat of Borsipper, each step a planetary color. Prime examples.
And the 7 creative lords, the Logi.
Seen as streams of force emanating from the Eternal One, much like the spectrum from white light. Planetary worship was based on them as cosmic embodiments of 7 creative attributes of God, believed to reside within the sun itself, which contains the seeds of all tone and color potencies.
Hall even provides a chart.
Yeah, the Color Principles of Man chart shows connections between colors, human consciousness states, states of matter, like violet corresponding to ether or red to animal life.
And planetary color tone analogies.
Right, like Mars is dew, the sun is Re, Mercury is Mi, Saturn is Fa, Jupiter is Sol, Venus is La, the moon is a Psi. A profound holistic system of cosmic correspondence.
If we connect all these threads to the bigger picture, it becomes clear that symbolism isn't just decoration or myth.
No, it's truly the universal language Hall refers to.
The lost key to understanding ancient arts and sciences. A way to read the cosmos itself, and by extension, to understand ourselves.
Well put.
Okay, let's transition now from the language of symbols to the very practical, though often profoundly misunderstood, esoteric practices of antiquity. We need to dive into the great work of alchemy.
Right, the magnum opus.
When we hear alchemy, we often think of turning lead into gold. But what was the true great work for these ancient practitioners?
That's precisely the common misconception, isn't it? It's vital to understand that for the true Rosicrucian alchemists, their work was not merely about transmuting base metals into physical gold.
That was just the surface.
That was the exoteric understanding, the outer shell. The core, the secret process, was far more profound. It was about transmuting the Luciferian intellect.
Which represents?
The intellectual mind operating without spiritual illumination. The false light of pure materialism or disconnected reason.
Transmuting that into what?
Into the Christly intellect, which represents the true light of the soul, enlightened and connected to higher wisdom. This inner spiritual and psychological transformation was the ultimate goal.
We have some incredible stories of alchemists who seemingly achieved both the inner and outer great work, though, like Nicholas Flamel.
Flamel's a fascinating case. Spent years deciphering the mysterious Book of Abraham the Jew with his wife, Perenelle. Eventually performed the transmutation of base metals into gold several times, apparently with perfect success.
And he left clues.
Church art in Paris, hiding the secret in plain sight.
Amazing. And Raymond Lully.
Another famous figure. Reportedly made gold for King Edward II, driven by a desire to fend a crusade against the infidels. These aren't just fables, they represent a deep commitment to an arduous process, one that suggests an intimate connection between spiritual purification and material mastery. And these anecdotes beautifully highlight the core alchemical teaching Hall emphasizes. Unless the greater alchemy has first taken place within the soul of man, he cannot perform the lesser alchemy in the retort.
So inner work first.
Absolutely. Without the inner spiritual refinement, without transmuting the mental body of ignorance into wisdom and the base animal desires into a pure golden and godly consciousness, the outer material experiment simply won't yield gold.
It's a profound statement on the prerequisite of self-mastery for mastery over nature.
Exactly.
So if spiritual and mental elements can be multiplied through these processes, does alchemy suggest that material elements can be multiplied too? By analogy, or by understanding these deeper principles?
From the alchemical perspective, yes, potentially. If the underlying principles are understood and applied correctly. Dr. Sigismund Backstrom, an initiated Rosicrucian,
Okay.
he believed that establishing harmony among the elements, earth, fire, air, water, and uniting them into the philosopher's stone,
Symbolized by the six-pointed star.
right, could actually heal all disease. He asserted that the universal fire, or spirit of nature, does all and is all in all, manipulating matter through attraction, repulsion, motion, heat, etc.
So understanding these universal principles was the real key.
That was the key to becoming a true philosopher who could interact with nature's hidden forces and potentially accelerate its natural processes.
It's about accelerating nature's processes through art, or applied wisdom then, like growing a diamond faster.
Exactly. Just as the seed within the soul of a stone can germinate into a diamond through such art, similarly, teaching wisdom is easier for those who already have a philosophical foundation.
So alchemy is the art of increasing and bringing into perfect flower with the greatest possible expedition.
That's a great way to put it. It's about consciously evolving and perfecting both oneself and, potentially, nature itself.
Which explains why alchemical emblems are so potent and not just, decoration.
Precisely. Gold personified as a crowned king with a scepter or a solar disk. Silver as a queen on a lunar crescent, like the Madonna.
Mercury.
A winged youth, maybe with two heads, often with serpents, representing its volatile dual nature. Lead as an old man with a scythe, symbolizing its heavy, inert qualities. Iron as a soldier in armor, denoting strength.
They're mnemonic devices, encoding deeper meanings about the elements, both outside and inside us.
Both in the retort and, crucially, within the human soul. That's the connection.
Let's shift now to another practical side of occult arts. Ceremonial magic and the fascinating world of nature spirits. This often gets a bad rap, doesn't it, associated with dark arts?
It really does, but its ancient origins tell a different story. Ceremonial magic is defined as the ancient art of invoking and controlling spirits by a scientific application of certain formulae.
Scientific application.
Yeah, implying precise methods. In its pure ancient form, it wasn't necessarily evil, but a profound science involving specific rituals and correspondences.
But it could be misused.
Absolutely. Its perversion for selfish gain did lead to schools of sorcery or black magic. But the true magician, using consecrated vestments, wands, specific words, symbols, sought to control the invisible inhabitants of the elements and the astral world by aligning with natural laws, not violating them.
Looking at this image of a magic circle, you can really see the intricate design. The attention to detail is incredible.
It is. The magician stands at the magister point, surrounded by words, names of invisible intelligences. Small crosses mark prayer points. The outer circle and triangle are carefully prepared for the invoked spirit, with its unique signature traced within.
It's a complex system, not just drawing a circle on the floor.
Far from it, and the invocations themselves were incredibly specific, often appealing to divine names and powers, like calling upon Elohe Agla Elohim Adonai Jibort, or specifically entreating Pabiel, a Jupiterian spirit, to appear as a beautiful angel, to fulfill desires without causing harm.
But that last part seems important.
Crucial, these elaborate rituals were carefully designed to interact with unseen forces, not through brute force, but through specific correspondences and divine names, with precise ethical considerations built in.
The pentagram, another powerful symbol shown in our sources, when it's inverted, that signifies perverted power, right? Matter over spirit.
That's the usual interpretation, yes. Paracelsus believed that metals and even specific characters, though seemingly dead, held profound occult properties.
What did he say about them?
He wrote that the salts, sulfur, and quintessences of metals are the highest preservatives of human life and are far superior to all other simples. This hints at the vital energy contained within even seemingly inert substances, which a true practitioner could tap into.
This leads us right to Paracelsus's vivid descriptions of nature spirits, or elementals.
Ah, yes, the undines, sylphs, gnomes, and salamanders.
He categorized them based on their elements.
Exactly. Nymphs or undines in water, sylphs in air, pygmies or gnomes in earth, and salamanders in fire. These beings were believed to live within their specific elements, which were transparent and invisible to them.
And their nature.
Generally high moral character, though considered incapable of spiritual development in the same way humans are. Their lifespans were said to be much longer than humans, maybe 300 to 1,000 years. Distinct beings.
And the gnomes, for example, ruled by King Gob, hence goblins.
That's the connection Hall makes, yeah. Because of their earthy character and link to the mineral kingdom, they were assigned to the north.
Which the ancients associated with darkness and death.
Often, yes. Their temperament was described as melancholy and despondent, not necessarily evil, but controlling elements of similar consistency, embodying the dense material aspects of existence.
And salamanders, fiery beings.
Often seen as fiery balls or tongues of fire, or as glowing lizard-like creatures twisting in flames. Some traditions even suggested Zoroaster, the Persian prophet, was the son of Vesta and the great salamander or Rameses.
Explaining the undying fires on Persian altars.
Possibly. Ancients also believed these elementals could wage war through material substance. If lightning struck rock, it was seen as salamanders attacking gnomes.
They couldn't attack each other directly.
Not on their own etheric planes, apparently. So they used the physical world as their battleground. Wild stuff.
This all ties into Paracelsus's revolutionary healing philosophy, doesn't it?
It really does. He saw disease as caused by derangements of the etheric double, the invisible, energetic counterpart to the physical body.
So healing involved fixing the energy body.
Exactly. He sought to reharmonize this double by introducing vital energies from other bodies. He called this vital energy the mumia.
Like an early vaccine concept.
Analogous, yeah. A small dose of a potent substance invoking a healing response. He even believed diseases could be fought with spells and invocations, commanding evil spirits to depart, much like biblical exorcisms.
And he wasn't impressed with doctors of his day?
Not at all. He sharply criticized physicians for ignoring the superphysical man, focusing only on effects, not invisible causes. He called their methods physic, sorcery, and quackery, advocated for a more holistic, esoteric approach.
Okay, finally in this section, let's explore the Kabbalah, a system that profoundly influenced medieval thought, both Christian and Jewish. It held a hidden doctrine, right?
Absolutely. Symbolized even by the crossed keys on the papal crest, according to Hall, hinting at a secret knowledge system.
Kabbalism, as a sacred science, was traditionally divided into 5 sections.
That's right, each with a specific focus. The natural Kabbalah studied nature's mysteries. The analogical Kabbalah revealed the relationship between all things, showing man as a microcosm of God, the great universe.
Microcosm, macrocosm again.
Always comes back to that. Then there's contemplative Kabbalah, revealing celestial mysteries through higher intellect, abstract reasoning. Astrological Kabbalah delved into the power, magnitude, substance of stars and planets, their mystical constitution.
And the magical Kabbalah.
That let with control over demons and subhuman intelligences, but also healing through talismans, charms, invocations. These aren't just arcane practices, they represent different pathways to understanding and interacting with hidden cosmic forces.
Looking at this Hebrew triad image, we see the letter Shin. What does it signify?
It signifies the trinity of the first 3 Sephiroth, Kether, the crown, Chokhmah, the divine father, and Bina, the divine mother.
And their union.
From the union of the divine father and divine mother, the Kabbalists believed, came forth the worlds and generations of living things. The 3 flame-like points of the letter Shin elegantly conceal this creative triad, representing divine emanation.
At the heart of Kabbalah is the Tetragrammaton, the sacred 4-lettered name of God, Jehovah.
Right. And this isn't just a name, it's a profound symbolic blueprint for creation itself. Each letter represents a stage of divine emanation.
From Yod onwards.
Exactly. From the initial singular impulse, Yod, through the unfolding of masculine and feminine principles, he vowed that bring the divine into manifest reality. It's a complete map of how the cosmos comes into being, from unmanifest to material.
And here's a truly crucial connection Hall makes. Placing the Tetragrammaton letters vertically resembles the human body.
Yeah, Yod for the head, the first He for arms, shoulders, Vav for the trunk, the final He for hips, legs. It's striking.
And inserting Shin into Jehovah forms.
Jehoshua, or Jesus. This directly links the name of Christ to Kabbalistic principles and the ancient concept of the God-man, suggesting a profound esoteric connection, not just a literal historical event.
So the Old Testament might contain more than just history.
Hall argues strongly for that, particularly the Pentateuch. He believes it contains secrets of the Egyptian initiators of the Moses concerning the genesis of the God-man, the initiate, and the mystery of his rebirth through philosophy.
And these secrets are unlocked how?
Through specific Kabbalistic techniques. Gematria, numerical values of letter swords, Notarikon, letters as acronyms for sentences, and Tamira, rearranging letters for new words. These were the keys.
Can you give an example, like the temple building time?
Right. John's Gospel says the temple was 46 years in building. St. Augustine, following this tradition, noted that the numerical value of the name Adam in Greek is 46.
Making Adam a type of the temple.
Exactly. A microcosm, connecting the human form directly to divine architecture and the cosmos.
And the Kabbalistic scheme of the four worlds image.
That further details this profound order. Concentric circles symbolizing emanations from the unmanifested Ein Sof. Creation originates within a primitive dot, A1, the first crown. Each world has 10 powers or spheres, increasing density down to the corporeal world.
All enclosed within
the auric egg of Ein Sof, showing the interconnectedness of all levels of existence.
Okay, let's explore how these ancient secret societies didn't just preserve wisdom, but actively influenced history, shaping not just thought, but even the physical world. What role did the Dionysiac architects play?
They're a fascinating starting point. A fraternity that spread throughout Asia Minor, Egypt, India, Europe. They were the master builders of their age.
Building what kind of structures?
Monumental ones. Constantinople, Rhodes, Athens, Rome. Vitruvius, the renowned Roman architect, was one of their most illustrious members. His work hints at the philosophy behind their principles of symmetry.
It derived from?
Often from the proportions of the human body and cosmic harmony.
Beyond their building skills, they had a philosophy.
A deep, speculative philosophic code, yes. They viewed human society as a rough and untrued ashlar, a crude block from nature.
And their job?
As master workmen, they labored to polish and transform it. They venerated deity as great architect and master craftsman.
A great architect.
And believed immortality could be achieved by attuning oneself with nature's creative agencies, becoming part of that constructive rhythm of the cosmos. A philosophy of continuous self-improvement and cosmic alignment.
This leads us naturally to Freemasonry, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Paul sees a direct lineage.
He does. He describes Freemasonry as possessing a priceless heritage from the mystery schools of antiquity. Albert Pike, a prominent Mason, articulated that Freemasonry in its symbolism is more ancient than any of the world's living religions, with symbols and doctrines older even than Zarathustra. Its philosophical power lies precisely in these symbols, holding layers of hidden meaning.
And the ultimate symbolic architectural work is Solomon's Temple. It's more than just a building.
Oh, much more. Described not just as physical, but as a miniature representation of the universal temple itself. But Hall points to 3 symbolic temples.
3.
First, the cosmic temple, illuminated by stars, sun, moon. Solomon represents spiritual effulgency, Chiron the active light animating the universe. The human body itself, the living temple, where Freemasonry is operative, the real work of building and refining is done within you.
And third,
the solar house. An invisible structure, the supreme Freemasonic arcanum, representing the spiritual body, the robes of glory, an enlightened state of consciousness. These aren't just metaphors, they point to real inner transformation.
Hiram Abiff, the widow's son, the Grand Master in Masonic legend. He's key here.
Pivotal. Depicted as the most cunning, skillful, and curious workman. His murder is presented as an allegory.
Of what?
Of a cosmic martyr, the crucified spirit of good, the dying god. An archetype found in many ancient mysteries. The very name, Kairam, is interpreted Kabbalistically.
Meaning?
My father, the universal spirit, 1 in essence, 3 in aspect, representing the universal agent or fire of nature, cyclically dying and rising.
Speaking of Solomon, Talmudic legends say he understood Kabbalah, alchemy, necromancy, controlled demons.
That's the legend, highlighting the belief in his mastery of both visible and invisible forces. His legendary Key of Solomon the King is said to contain the magical secrets he used.
What about the Arthurian legends? The Round Table, Also symbolic.
Deeply so, much like the temples. The round table could expand or contract 12 or 24 nights, symbolizing zodiac signs, apostles, hours of the day.
And the center.
Had the symbolic rose of Christ's passion, signifying resurrection. The siege perilous, that empty seat,
Was 4.
reserved only for the successful quester of the Holy Grail, a trial only a pure initiate could pass.
And the Holy Grail itself. A cup. A platter.
Maybe, but not merely a physical relic. It can only be found by those who've raised themselves above the limitations of sensuous existence, like in Lowell's vision of Sir Launfal.
What does it symbolize esoterically?
Maybe the seed pod of germination and resurrection. Or, more profoundly, the regeneration and spiritualization of the generative forces in man, a profound inner transformation leading to spiritual rebirth.
Okay, let's explore something that really fascinates literary detectives. Cryptograms. Hidden messages in philosophy and literature.
Yeah, this is a really interesting area. Ciphers were indispensable in ancient and medieval times, not just for military and diplomacy, but to conceal profound wisdom.
And we often overlook this today.
The modern world largely overlooks their role in literature and philosophy. Deciphering them, Hall claims, would reveal hitherto unsuspected wisdom, proving some authors were intentionally wordy just to hide deeper messages.
How are these ciphers hidden?
With incredible subtlety, embedded in watermarks, bound into book covers, hidden via imperfect pagination, using first letters or words.
Mathematical codes. Jargon. Invisible ink.
All of the above. Word ciphers, letter ciphers, ambiguous statements needing careful rereading. Even illuminated initial letters or specific counting of words letters could hide them. It suggests much of literature might be a puzzle waiting to be solved.
And this connects back to Freemasonry.
Hall suggests serious research into 16th, 17th century books and manuscripts using cryptographic knowledge might bridge the gap in Masonic history between the ancient mysteries and modern craft masonry.
Certain books were key to this.
Texts like Trithemius's Polygraphia and Steganographia, Wilkins and Mercury, Kircher's Oedipus Egyptiacus, Salinas' Cryptominatices et Cryptographiae, these were vital for understanding secret communication.
This brings us to one of the biggest literary mysteries, Shakespeare. Hall doesn't mince words, does he?
No, he flatly states, it is quite evident that William Shakespeare could not, unaided, have produced the immortal writings bearing his name.
Why? What's the reasoning?
He cites a lack of literary culture in Stratford, illiterate parents, Shakespeare's own apparent disregard for study, his scrawling, uncertain signatures, and critically, no autographed manuscripts of the plays or sonnets exist.
It definitely opens up a huge question mark.
It absolutely does. This forms the basis of the Baconian theory.
Which is?
That Sir Francis Bacon, a Rosicrucian initiate, deliberately embedded the secret teachings of the Fraternity of R.C. and the true rituals of the Freemasonic order within the Shakespearean plays. Some even suggest Bacon founded Freemasonry.
Controversial stuff.
Hugely. Hall notes a sentimental world, dislikes giving up a traditional hero, but suggests solving this riddle could unlock the supposedly lost wisdom of antiquity.
And Bacon's will.
He originally bequeathed his name and memory to succeeding ages and to his own countrymen after some time had elapsed, but then famously deleted that last part.
Why?
Apparently fearing that he had said too much, Hall speculates.
Are there other cryptic hints?
Potentially.
Yeah.
On page 33, Bacon's cipher number of Robert Cawdry's treasury from 1609, there's an allusion many interpret as supporting the theory.
And that title page image from Salinas' Cryptominatices.
Published in 1624, right after the first folio, during the Rosicrucian controversy. Hall argues the fine hand of the Rosicrucians was behind its publication.
What does it show?
A nobleman, possibly Bacon, placing his hat on another man's head. An oval at the top might hint at beacons, Bacon, and the side panels show a nobleman, Bacon, giving a paper to a man of mean appearance, holding a spear, Shakespeare.
A compelling visual cryptogram.
Very. Bacon was known for using various cipher systems, like the biliteral cipher using two slightly different fonts for A and B.
And the Shakespeare folio might contain many systems.
Hall suggests maybe a score of different systems, some incredibly intricate involving A-B exchanges, backward messages, counting every other letter, a labyrinth of hidden meanings.
Beyond letters, there were pictorial ciphers, too.
Definitely. Any picture with more than its obvious meaning could be one. Common in Egyptian symbolism, early religious art, alchemists' diagrams.
How technical could they get?
Words or letters could be concealed by the number of stones in a wall, spread of birds' wings, water ripples, length of lines and shading. Even building proportions, window bars, folds of garments could conceal figures or characters, decodable by those with the key.
Nothing was merely ornamental.
Seems that way.
You have that alchemical cryptogram example.
Right, from Brown's History of Chemistry. Capital letters in concentric circles, outer. SVL PHVR, second. FIXVM, inner, est sol.
Decoding 2.
Sulfur fixum est sol, or fixed sulfur is gold. A brilliant illustration of hiding knowledge in visual art.
Okay, let's bring it back to the Rosicrucian fraternity. A key secret society weaving through all this. What can we truly know about them?
Well, the first thing Hall emphasizes is that trustworthy information is unavailable about their actual core beliefs and activities.
Right.
The mysteries of the society, by their very nature, were preserved inviolate. Hall posits there were likely two distinct bodies. An inner organization whose members never revealed their identities or highest teachings.
And an outer one.
An outer body operating under the inner group's supervision. The symbolic tomb of Christian Rosenkreutz, CRC, was likely this outer body, with his true spirit residing in a more exalted sphere.
So the early manifestos, the Fama Fraternitatis,
circulated from 1614 onward, often served to confuse and mislead investigators, Hall argues, concealing the fraternity's actual designs rather than fully revealing them. Strategic obscurity.
Tell us about the legend of CRC himself.
Born 1378, departed at 106, traveled extensively, learned from philosophers in Damkar, communicated with elementals in Fez, gained many other great secrets of nature.
Then he returned to Germany.
Built a house for quiet study, manufactured scientific instruments, dedicated his long life to uncovering and synthesizing ancient wisdom.
And the founding of the fraternity.
After 5 years of retirement, he decided to pursue a reformation of arts and sciences. Called three brethren, bound them by oath, founded the Fraternity of the Rose Cross.
What did they do first?
Developed a secret cipher language, a great dictionary of wisdom, began transcribing a foundational text, the Book M.
The image of the golden and rosy cross is deeply symbolic.
Very. Made of spiritual gold, bears alchemical symbols, salt, sulfur, mercury, a planetary star, the words faith, hope, love, patience, and the double-headed eagle or phoenix.
Foreshadows what?
The ultimate androgynous state of the human creature. Perfected balance, self-realization, uniting opposites within.
And the Rosicrucian Rosendumble.
Another powerful one. Ionic symbol generation, fecundity, purity. Its blossoming signifies spiritual unfoldment.
Colors again.
Red for Christ's blood, golden heart for spiritual gold and human nature. 10 petals for the perfect Pythagorean number. Symbolizes the heart and spiritual evolution.
CRC's allegorical chemical wedding, that's an initiation story.
A profound one, yeah. He dreams of being in a dungeon, grasping a rope of salvation, raised by an ancient matron who records names in a golden yellow book, giving each a piece of gold marked DLS.
And then?
He reaches the castle of Virga Lucifera, where guests are weighed on scales to determine their integrity. A philosophical test of worthiness before gaining deeper wisdom.
What was the Fama's stated purpose?
To clarify their position against accusations of heresy treason and invite the learned of Europe to help spread divine knowledge, they declared contemporary philosophy false and soon to die.
And Rosicrucian philosophy.
Founded on knowledge that is the sum and head of all faculties, sciences, and arts. They claim to analyze the heavens and the earth, but mostly we study man himself, within whose nature is concealed the supreme secret.
They also issued a warning
against false and impious betrayers, stating God protected the fraternity and its treasures shall remain untouched, to be used by the lion in the establishment of his kingdom. Cryptic stuff.
Let's explore how some of these ancient secret teachings might inform prophetic visions and how historical narratives could have been altered or reinterpreted. This really challenges assumptions.
It does. Consider the claims of Irenaeus, a 2nd century church father. He stated Jesus lived to an advanced age, based on accounts from John the Disciple.
Which contradicts the usual story.
Directly contradicts the later mysterious number 33, arbitrarily chosen for Jesus' life duration. Hall suggests incidents in Jesus' life were purposely altered to fit pagan savior god patterns, a powerful assertion about shaping narratives.
Justin Martyr, another early authority, acknowledged similarities.
Openly addressed pagans, recognizing the striking analogies between Christ and various pagan savior gods. This universal savior god concept, Hall argues, was the unquestionable inspiration for Jesus' saying, "I am the way, the truth, and the life,
suggesting a continuity of archetypes across religions.
rather than an entirely unique historical event, yes, a continuity of spiritual truths. In the gospel narratives, the Christos represents the perfect man passing through the world mystery, symbolized by the 33 years, and then ascending to heaven.
So the Jesus story, like Hiram Abyss,
is presented as part of secret initiatory ritualism belonging to early Christian and pagan mysteries, not solely a literal historical account, a symbolic journey.
Muhammad's story also has interesting parallels Hall explores.
Yeah, the Quran, compiled over 20 years after his death, is described by Hall, citing Higgins, as potentially a jumble of hearsay with interpolations. Godfrey Higgins even suggested an eclectic philosopher's Quran might have been replaced by one more suitable for conquering Saracens.
And Muhammad himself might have known the secret doctrine.
Hall suggests it's likely through contact with a great school, Nestorian monks, a mysterious holy man, or a decadent Arabian school retaining ancient wisdom, implying even figures like Muhammad were influenced by these hidden traditions.
Even the Kaaba in Mecca has symbolism.
Deep symbolism. 7 circumambulations mirroring celestial motion. Originally 360 pillars, 19 gates corresponding to the Metonic cycle and the inner ring of Stonehenge, reveals profound astronomical and numerical symbolism predating Islam, pointing to ancient pagan mysteries, a physical embodiment of older wisdom.
Finally, let's look at some physical manifestations and the wonders of antiquity and their enigmatic builders, not just engineering feats.
Far more. The phenomenon of burning lamps found in ancient sepulchres.
Burning for centuries.
Some reportedly burned for over 2,000 years. Strongly suggests ancient priest chemists knew how to make remarkably long-burning fuels, a lost art. Points to a scientific understanding we don't grasp.
And the oracles, Delphi, Trophonius.
Not just superstitious sites, but sophisticated centers for accessing hidden knowledge. At Delphi, fumes from a fissure induced a religious frenzy in the Pythia, letting her connect with the god.
Delphi as the navel of the earth.
Connecting oracular revelation to the occult significance of the navel. Deep mystery. At the cave of Trophonius, consultants experienced delirium before being ejected, hinting at transformative altered states providing profound insights.
And the great sculptors and architects. Initiates.
Many, like Phidias and Vitruvius, were initiates of the mysteries, especially the Eleusinian rites. They concealed secret doctrine in their works. Phidias' Zeus statue was dedicated to the spirit of Jupiter, embodying astrological principles.
Their knowledge was profound.
In mathematics, astronomy, architecture, anatomy, indicates they were masterminds cultured in the arcana. They established the Guild of the Builders, progenitors of modern Freemasons.
In the greatest physical mystery, the Great Pyramid of Giza, Hall says not a tomb.
Vehemently argues against it, believes Herodotus concocted a fraudulent story to conceal the true origin and purpose.
What's the evidence against it being a tomb?
No proof it was erected by Egyptians for burial. Lacks typical carvings, inscriptions. Sepulchral vault unfinished. Seashells at base suggest pre-deluge construction.
So what was it?
Some ancients proposed a refuge against the flood or a treasure house. Subterranean chambers beneath are strongly suspected. It's a monument pregnant with hidden meaning, challenging history.
So after this incredible journey through secret teachings, hidden symbols, ancient practices, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Where does it lead?
Ultimately, it brings us back to that profound idea. Hall stresses. Man himself was the key to the riddle of life.
The key is within us.
Indeed. Hall emphasizes that man is the living image of the divine plan, and that future ages will come to realize the solemn import of the ancient words. The proper study of mankind is man.
An invitation to introspection, self-discovery, recognizing the divine blueprint within.
Exactly. It implies the universe's greatest secrets aren't just out there, but deeply encoded within our own being.
And this connects to the importance of having a personal philosophy.
Absolutely. Hall suggests no individual, race, or nation can achieve true greatness without an adequate philosophy to guide its existence. Without that guiding light, that inner compass, we just wander aimlessly.
As individuals and societies.
Both.
The tragedy, Hall suggests, is that modern philosophy often fails. Why?
Because it often regards thinking as purely an intellectual process, detached from spiritual truth. Hall says the power to think true is the savior of humanity.
Thinking true.
He equates comparative rational development with our true evolutionary status. Mythological redeemers were all personifications of this power. Functioning on a higher plane of rationality makes you a greater thinker. Lower plane, you're considered a barbarian. It's about elevating consciousness through integrating mind and spirit.
The sources poignantly remind us of the tragedies of war, like World War I, destroying knowledge, beauty, ideals.
All for some whim or urge of ambition. Muhammad's declaration that the Inca philosophers to be more precious than the blood of martyrs resonates deeply here. Knowledge, once lost, is incredibly hard to recover. Preservation is vital.
Hall also critiques modern civilization.
Sharply, for making a fetish of civilization, being overwhelmed by its own fabrications, essentially worshiping its own creations and material progress.
Forgetting our place.
Humanity, he argues, has forgotten how infinitesimal, how impermanent, and how ignorant it actually is. We ridicule Ptolemy's geocentric system, yet modern civilization often assumes Earth is the most permanent and important sphere, demonstrating a similar kind of intellectual myopia. True wisdom is understanding our humble place.
But the promise of the mysteries endures, doesn't it?
It does. They unfold latent powers and faculties within us, enabling us to master the secrets of the seven spheres. Hall eloquently states the mysteries have always stood at the threshold of reality.
That spot between known and unknown.
And he emphasizes, the gates of the mysteries stand ever ajar for those willing to pass into the spacious domicile of spirit. Crucially, that gate between the not-self, outer world, and the self, inner realizations, is in every man and woman.
A profound invitation to look within.
It truly is.
How do we access that gate?
In The Mystic, Hall says, this gate is the heart. Through spiritualizing emotions, one contacts a higher plane. For the philosopher, reason serves as this gate, the illumined mind bridging the gap between corporeal and incorporeal.
And the end result.
Ultimately, Godhood is born within the one who sees, a profound declaration that self-discovery is the path to the divine, a journey that begins and ends within ourselves.
Wow, what a journey this has been. From ancient Greek thinkers and hidden societies to the cosmic dance of planets and the very building blocks of our universe. We've only just scratched the surface, haven't we?
Barely scratched it. The depth in Hall's work is immense.
It truly makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets might be waiting to be deciphered, not just in ancient texts, but maybe in plain sight all around us?
Indeed. The sources remind us that the world of philosophy is everywhere, like a subtle essence permeating all space and all substance. It penetrates the innermost and outermost parts of all being.
So it's not just books on a shelf.
Not at all. The knowledge we've touched upon today isn't about rigid dogma, but about a living process of self-discovery, leading to a greater and more glorious universe within each of us. The true quest, as it was for the ancients, remains the quest for ourselves, for that inner spark of divine understanding.
So consider this. If man is truly a microcosm, a miniature replica of the great universe, then what hidden keys lie within your own nature, waiting for you to unlock the deep wisdom of the cosmos?